Imagine two people standing in the same field. They're both listening to the same voice, they hear the same words, they see the same scene. One person walks away unchanged, the other keeps thinking about it later that day. No pressure, no big explanation, just a story that wouldn't quite let go. That's often how Jesus taught. When Jesus spoke, he didn't usually start with definitions or arguments. He told stories. Stories about farming, family, about builders, neighbors, sheep, and even a lost coin. These stories are called parables. A parable is a simple, everyday story that points to a deeper truth. Jesus took things people already understood: work, relationships, loss, growth, and used them to reveal something bigger. Something about God, something about us, something about what life looks like when God is truly trusted. Parables aren't riddles to crack or puzzles to decode. They're stories meant to be listened to slowly. Jesus used parables because stories did something explanations often can't. They don't force agreement. They don't rush you to a conclusion. They invite reflection. A parable gives you space to lean in or space to walk away. That wasn't a weakness in Jesus' teachings, it was intentional. Jesus once said, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear." In other words, truth isn't just about information, it's about openness. Parables reveal the truth to those who are willing to receive it without overwhelming those who aren't ready yet. And if you're wondering, that opening story was doing exactly that. It didn't explain anything, it simply invited you to notice. And that is how parables work. Parables are not moral fables where every detail has a hidden meaning. They're not a lecture dressed up as stories, and they're not just about trying harder to be a better person. Most parables have one main point, not dozens. And if we try to make every detail mean something, we often miss what Jesus is actually saying. A helpful way to approach a parable is to ask a few simple questions. What does this show me about God? What does it reveal about people? And what response does Jesus seem to be inviting? You don't need perfect answers. You don't need to understand everything. Parables are meant to be lived into, not mastered. Parables still matter because they cut through religious noise. They speak to people who are curious, people who are skeptical, people who are new to faith, and people who think they've heard it all before. They meet us where we are and gently invite us to take the next step. In this foundation series, we're going to explore some of the parables Jesus told, not to rush to conclusions, not to force neat answers, but to listen carefully, to notice what stands out, and to respond honestly. Because parables don't just explain truth, they invite transformation. See you in the next video.